Hi guys, my name's Adele Onyango and welcome to another episode of Legally Clueless. No, seriously, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Hey you, welcome to episode 72 of Legally Clueless. If this is your first time listening to this podcast, join our tribe on Instagram. That's at Legally Clueless Podcast. If you're back again and again and again, thank you so much for making this podcast part of your life. I truly do appreciate it. Now, in light of everything that's happening with the pandemic, I would like you, if you're having a hard time just kind of maintaining your mental wellness, head over to episode 54. My good friend Wangoi, who's a clinical psychologist, she's helping me with a project under my initiative, which is the Safe 247 project. I've talked about it here before. But on episode 54, I invited her on and she shared some really amazing tips that could help you maintain your mental well-being during this pandemic. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, as a community, we're really going through it. But even on an individual level, there's even just anxieties and fears that could be a bit overwhelming. And I would urge you to, jot down some of the tips she says, try out some of them in your life. Actually, one of them basically saved my life this week, but I'll get into that a little later in the episode. Speaking of things that are coming up though, Thursday, which is the 30th of July, is International Friendship Day, Day of Friendship. Well, you get the gist. And so every year on that day, I have my best friend of 15 years, Val, jump on the podcast. So she's going to be in this episode a little later. What we did was answer a few interesting and entertaining questions. Listen to this.
I think mine would probably be my primary school boyfriend.
You had a primary school?
We dated for 2 years. I think class 6 and 7.
6? Val said, am I living life or is life living me? And it was during the situation when Nairobi city boys were showing you dance. And
Initially, 2019 was rough. Dating-wise. Hey.
But before we get to that, there's tons of laughter in this episode, which I'm happy about because for the past 2 weeks, I was in a bit of a funk. So I'm glad that I've gotten out of it. And the thing is with life, nothing is constant. And that's something that's hope inspiring when you're in a funk. But also when you're in a good place like I am now, it means you just need to really take in the good because you never know when the funk will come back. It's just one of those truths of life. Nothing is constant, right? So if you listen to the last 2 episodes, you know I was really going through it and I reached out to my therapist. So thing about my therapist, I've known her for over 10 years. I was introduced to her by my late mom, and it was after I opened up to my mom that I had been raped. And my mom insisted that I needed to take care of my mental well-being. I think it was maybe a year and a half since the rape when I told my mom. And I'd not been in any form of therapy and I was really going through it. So the first therapist that she took me to, I think a friend of hers had referred us to, just wasn't my jazz. Like they were really rooted in the whole church thing, which is not a bad thing if that's your thing. It's just not mine. I also think when it comes to your mental health, especially after trauma, it's less about pray about it and actually, if need be, diagnosing certain conditions, giving me certain coping tools and things like that. It's a science, right? So I didn't mesh with the first one. And then my mom remembered now my current therapist. And I knew from the word go when I walked into her offices. She used to be on General Madenge. By the way, where her office was has been renovated completely. It's where the new Zucchini is. There was like this tiny restaurant at the back. So sometimes if you wanted to meet outside of her office, she would, say, okay, fine, let's have lunch at that restaurant. But her office, it was like full of color and there were all of these bin bag cushion seats, and anyone who knows me knows that's like definitely my character. So I completely gelled with her. And then, unfortunately, a couple of years ago, she had to move from Kenya just based on life changes and things that were going on for her and her partner. And so now she's in the Netherlands, which is not a bad thing because I'd been in therapy for so long that with her that now I can do, what are they called? Online sessions. Yes, that's it. So I had an online session with her last week, and we talked about many things and just where I was at, and I felt like things were getting really heavy for me. And she reminded me about some mindful exercises. So I would only, and I've said this on the podcast before, I would only do breathing exercises, right? So, which really help, by the way, try them out. But I never really took the exercises that remind you of how to be present seriously. I don't know why. I was just like, that doesn't seem really effective. So after our session, I kept trying to do a lot of mindful exercises. So exercises where, like, if I'm sitting on a chair, like, I'll touch the chair and wriggle my toes and be really present. Like, how can I explain this in words? Like, really feel like I am sitting on this chair in this moment in this room. That helps bring me back into the present moment. And also exercises where I count things around me. So 5 to 7 things around me. So the one about counting things around me, I did even just while I was driving. I counted so many interesting and beautiful things. I kept doing that exercise repeatedly until one day, when was it? Today's Sunday, so I want to say Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not too sure. I woke up and I think I had an errand to run. Oh my God, I genuinely can't remember. Old age, is that you? Anyway, and I just woke up so thankful, so present, so aware that, yes, the projects that I'm pursuing are not perfect. They're probably not where I see them going or want them to go. They're okay. But I was just like, wow, I'm really here. I'm really alive. I've really survived so much. I've come so far. I've learned so many skills. I've gifted myself freedom. I've dared to be. It got so real in that moment that I was like, if I was to die today, I'd be okay. I in that moment, I just felt this overwhelming sense of no regrets, just being so thankful and so aware of life, like so aware of it. It was just, in hindsight, I was just like, why didn't I try this mindful exercises a long time ago? And my therapist keeps telling me to try them, but I'm just like, what else? I do my breathing. I have my app, Mind Shift. I journal. But yeah, so I would say wherever you are right now, even if it's stuff that's not related to the pandemic, maybe it's stuff that the pandemic is just aggravating, but it's stuff that was there before. Just try the tips in episode 54. Try the breathing exercises and don't be like me. Try the mindful exercises now. All right. So before we jump into Val and I just doing the most in this episode, let me tell you, I'm so happy that this episode came when it came because the last 2 episodes were pretty heavy. So I'm glad that you get to hear a lot more laughter in this episode, and that's generally where I'm at. Yeah, but before we get to that, song of the week. Oh my God. So I have been replaying the song since it dropped. I think it dropped on Friday. So I had a completely different song that was meant to be song of the week in this episode, but I was like, scrap that. So this song is by 2 Kenyan rappers. They're considered new school rappers, and the name of the song is Mastingo. Okay, just let me loosely. Mastingo. How would I explain it to somebody who doesn't understand what it is? It's just basically like my style, my swag, my wave, something like that. I don't know how to explain it, but other than that, I think you need to listen to the song and watch the music video. It's by Kahush and Chris Kaiga. They're considered new school Kenyan rappers, and it's just such a good song. So check the description box. The link to the music video is there. And in the music video, first, the styling is amazing. Shout out to the stylist. I think her name is Luca, if I'm not wrong. But there's credits in the music video. But I also spot my favorite African dance crew Arts in Motion. You need to check them out on all social media platforms. They are so fantastic. They are so good. So that's the song of the week. Right about now, I want us to jump into Val and I hanging out. So the tradition for International Day of Friendship is that we answer a few questions about our friendship. And since it's been a year since we kicked it like this on the podcast, we being Val, I, and you, I wanted to also catch up on her writing and how that is going. She has an amazing blog called Luile de Leo. I'll put the link to the blog in the description of this episode. Please check it out. She writes about everything from relationships, especially when she was single. So she had a running series called Sex in the City. Yeah, it was a lot. But she also writes a lot about mental health, and she allows herself to be very vulnerable about her own mental health conditions. She's had a few guest writers this year talking about their own mental health conditions. She also, because this we've mentioned before, both our moms died from breast cancer. So this year she's writing about her mom's battle with breast cancer. And again, she's been so vulnerable about it. It's just check out the blog. It's fantastic. But let's jump into the questions. And so question 1, how and when did you and your best friend meet? Do you want to start?
Yeah, we met January 2005. 18th, 25th, something like that. I can't really remember the date, but it was on the first day of IB. Now we were in between high school and uni.
So Val came in not wearing uniform first and foremost. So everybody's like, hey, this chick, what's happening?
And then I was just trying to hide because I was so embarrassed that I did not have uniform.
The second question is, what was your first impression of them? So I think I thought you were very confident, I would say, coming to school with no school uniform. So you're wearing your home clothes, which everybody would have wanted to do because the uniform was the tackiest shade of blue ever. I hated that uniform so much.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was cut. And the waistcoat. We looked like waiters. Oh, it was so bad. Anyway, so I thought you were pretty confident. Okay, so that was, first impression, but definitely confident. So I don't know, what was your first impression?
Your smile and laugh, because you just looked so happy.
No, so sad to be there.
No, you looked very, very happy, and I'm like, this babe is probably really friendly. Oh my God, and your height. Yes, and your height. So I was like, this chick is tall. As in, yeah, and your height too. Because you really, like, when I'm not in heels, the height difference is very much there.
It's real.
Yeah.
Okay, question 3. What's your favorite memory together?
I won.
Okay, you answer first.
Mine will always be your wedding.
Really?
It was just so, that whole week, like because I remember Monday, you were doing your facial. And I remember I'm like, I need to take you for last dinner as a single girl. So we went to About Time. See how much I need you, and because I know you like that restaurant. Guys. So we did dinner. No, we didn't go to About Time. We went to Asmara. But why did we go to Asmara? Anyway, we went to Asmara.
Yeah, I remember Asmara. No, because I like Asmara's something.
The chicken
mushroom.
Yeah. So that we did on Monday. Tuesday we didn't see each other. Wednesday there was a dinner at your house.
Yeah.
And then Thursday was the formal ceremony, and then Friday was like the party, and just the whole week and the dramas. And remember your lights.
Which lights?
Wedding lights.
Okay. But yeah, that was a good week though.
Yeah, to the wedding, the ceremony itself was so good. You know, the glam, the getting ready in the morning.
Yeah.
Started drinking wine. Okay,
whiskey.
Whiskey in the morning, and then the after party. And then the breakfast the next day with the bride. It was just a very, very, very good week.
It was such a nice week. I was sad when it was over.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a nice week. One of my favorite memories.
Okay, going to embarrass me. I know it.
Okay, so I have 2 favorite memories. The first one was we went
I don't like this. I don't like this. This is going to embarrass me.
We went last year. Was it last year? We went for Kagwe Mungai. He's a Kenyan musician. So Kagwe Mungai is a Kenyan musician, and he was launching his album Spectrum. And we're both okay. I'm a fan of his music. Val, are you only a fan of his music or?
And his looks. And his looks.
So we go. So he was having an album launch concert thing at Alchemist. So we get there and we go to this, like Alchemist is a space. It has many different bars, right, in one space. Because we went upstairs to like a cocktail bar.
Yeah.
And we were just trying out various cocktails. And I remember this one cocktail that we tried. I didn't like the taste of it. Val was like, I'll drink it. She just chugged it. Oh, I know why we're excited. You just gotten a promotion at work.
You know, I'm not helping you tell this story at all. That's why I'm just going to be like, I'm not going to feel it.
So we were celebrating Val's
Yes.
promotion.
Yes.
And obviously we were celebrating Kagwe because we like his music. So then his performance starts. So we go downstairs from this cocktail bar to the stage area. And I meet a friend of mine. I thought we were all okay. Some were more okay than others. And so I meet this friend and I'm like, oh my God, because you know, like when I'm high, I'm a happy drunk. So I'm like, oh my God, my best friend just got promoted. I couldn't remember the new job title, but I'm like, Val, tell her what you are now. Tell her what you are. And Val goes like, Miss Luile. Which is a social media handle instead of saying
Media director. So she's trying, of course I don't even know this, but she's there, she's like, no, your title at work. What's your title now that you've been promoted at work? And I'm still there, Miss Luile. Oh.
Anyway, the night ended really early for Val.
I was home by midnight. I got to your place around 6:37.
Yeah.
And I was home by midnight.
And then Wine Festival last year.
That was so good.
Yeah,
that was so good.
We went for the Wine Festival and there were like so many stands of different wines. And by the time we got halfway, we were very happy. But it was a good,
I really enjoyed it. In fact,
nice.
even I remember I texted my cousins on our group chat and I'm like, yo, guys, we need to do this last year. This is real value for money.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get to sample different wines and they're not stingy with your samples.
Yeah.
And there were food stations. And it was so
so
good.
beautiful. It was so, and it was day drinking, which is like the best type of drinking.
Except I should have gone home that night. I'll never forget. I ended up going to meet some guy who ended up wasting the next 3 months of my life. Oh, I see him and I feel regret still this day.
Listen, we all have those time wasters in our... Just erase them. Just pretend they never existed. I mean, just erase the memory and keep it moving. That day you only went for Wine Festival. Describe each other in one word.
Ooh, one word.
I have my word.
Okay, you go.
Ambitious.
Ooh.
Like ridiculously ambitious. I think Val is like one of the most self-driven people I have ever met. Like you don't need anyone to hype you up. You like it, as everybody would like, right? But you don't need anybody to tell you, go and do this so that you can get this farther, you know. Like you'll just do it for yourself, which I think is, ambition is so sexy. Like man or woman, just acquire ambition in your life.
I think if I was to pick one for you, like one, it would be accomplished. Because there's so much you've done in just 10 years. Obviously, there's still so much more. Like, for example, in Feb, when we were meeting to talk about International Women's Day, and then you were telling me about the book. Remember?
Yeah.
So when I saw you really putting it up, I was like, oh, now I can talk about this. Like, finally. So there's what you guys know, and obviously there's stuff that people, you know, are not privy to until it's time to share, until she's ready to share. That's why sometimes, and I get this, it's your thing and everything, but sometimes you're like, oh, self-doubt, fear, and everything. I'm just like, you should just know how impactful you are. Yeah, as in it's quite something.
Oh, I'll take that.
Yes, you are easily the most accomplished person in. Look at this, like the podcast thing. Like you are like, I left radio and I didn't know what to do, and then you're like, and then you teach you later, like, well, then I can create my own space. And now just see, like it's a very good for people to see if you feel like you don't fit in somewhere. Create your own space then.
That's definitely one of my biggest lessons. Like, because if you wait for people to create that space for you, it's gonna take 10 years. If you and your best friend could live anywhere in the world together, where would it be and why? Wait, single as or? Okay, let's answer it. If we were both single, we would live in Accra.
I know you don't. Adele really wanted us to go to Ghana this year, and she's like, the men there, man. The men.
And you'd love the weather.
Yeah.
Yes, you'd love the weather, and people are really nice.
And I hear that Ghanaians are nice people.
They're really nice people, so that would be where I would pick. I don't know if you have another destination. Amanini. Where is it that weed is legal?
Amsterdam. Yeah. No, but then I just be smoking up on my own, and what's the fun in that? Well, it would not be Nairobi. I can tell you that. This is Nairobi men are not it.
Wait, this is single as.
Yes.
Okay.
It would not be here. Just any of their hot men, vibrant nightlife.
An art scene, like street art and like.
And for me, good food
that's cheap. All right, so that's where we'd go.
As single girls, but since we are not single,
Nairobi.
Stuck here listening to people's problems with this Nairobi city boys, yeah? Oh, you did what now? I'm so sorry.
Can't relate.
Can't relate. Because we both have really good guys, yeah, so.
Yeah. Have you ever taken a trip together?
Yes!
Finally!
Yes.
We went to Mombasa in February.
For your birthday?
Yeah, for my birthday. That was really fun.
I remember it was my boyfriend who threw that idea at me, because he was like, because when you're getting to know each other, and he's like, what, you guys have never gone on a girls trip together? And I'm like, actually just girls, we've never. And he's like, you should do that this year in the coast. So at first, I was like, maybe Diani, and Adela was like, no, I want to turn up. So we went to North Coast.
I wasn't looking to like sit on a beach and write poetry, no.
It was a good trip. It was very, I liked the place where we were at. It was so nice.
I think we grew closer.
Yeah.
From that trip, and just had a better understanding even of ourselves.
Because so on Friday night we've gone out, and then so you've drunk, and first of all that alcohol was a bit too much,
and then it was expensive alcohol. I don't know whether we're only used to cheap things.
So shots and cocktails, and then later there was champagne. Yeah. I was like, what's not happening? What's not happening here? So it reaches a point and decide I want to go home. And then Adele didn't want to leave because she's like, me, I'm still ready to turn up. I don't know what it is you're talking about. The other friend we were with now helped me order a cab. But I do not know why. Part of it has to be alcohol, and I think part of it is just like anxiety, because I have a lot of anxiety and things like that. So I think I started feeling Adele is leaving me, which doesn't make any sense. Because I enter the cab, and then I just start crying, like wailing, like like really, really crazy. So now I get to the hotel, I'm still crying. I enter the house, I'm still crying. Then rather the room, I'm still crying. As in I've cried. Then now the friend goes back to the club and tells Adele that she's left, but she's crying.
After a couple of shots. So I'm like, what? We have to find her. Because now, I'm not in my sober state. We have to find her. She's like, but she's at the hotel. We have to find her. And so the two guys that we're with are like, do you guys need help finding your friend? And I think the next morning they even like chatted, did you find your friend? And I'm like, she wasn't lost, but we did find her. Yeah, so it's just like panic mode, trying to find, why would you let her get into the car alone when she's crying? And I've never seen Val crying. I'm the crier. I think that's what scared me the most. Is like, I'm the one who cries Like, I think if someone came and told you Adele is crying, yeah, you'd be concerned, but you'd just be like, that's on brand.
Yeah.
But this one, I was like,
So she's trying to call me, and I'm not picking up. Like, she's leaving me now. She's calling me to say what? Let me tell you, it doesn't make much sense. But I know around that time, I'd had very many crying spells because there was, my mom's birthday. There was just a whole, the first 3 months of the year, I really cried. So I'm like, oh, she's just calling me, and I'm just crying. I don't want to hear. Oh my goodness, it was just so hectic. So she finally came to the hotel, and I was finally able to. I think he called me like 11 times. You even got Falgun, her husband, to call me. I'm like, I'm also not picking this one.
And he was just wondering, what is going on? Like, did you hug him? No. I said it was so weird. And then I remember the next morning I was calling my boyfriend to tell him the story, and then I just started crying all over again. And you men really see it.
Yeah, I'm sure you're wondering what it is. So I came back to the room, and Adele was still there. So I just pretended like I'm sleeping or everything, but you're like, no. She's like, how are you this morning? I'm like, I'm good. It's see. Then I went down for breakfast. Then I met you guys up there. And we just talked, like, sometimes this thing happens. And it was actually the conversation that followed after was very reassuring. Like,
and I think it's important to cry. I think you need to normalize crying. Because sometimes, like, trauma and stress is stored in your body.
Yeah.
So you may not feel it in the moment, but your body kind of just, like, stores it, be it physically stores it or mentally stores it, right? And then it'll just crack for like the smallest thing. So I could wail because my car is having an issue, and Fal will be wondering, like, legit, we can take it to the mechanic, but it's because there were small things that my body was like,
I remember
storing.
the weekend before we left, I had like my first panic attack. So I think I was just having a lot of anxiety that I just wasn't processing well. That's why I ended up crying, because Adele doesn't want to leave the club. And then I'm
like, this is the first time I'm being left in the club. Because normally I'm like, home time. It's cool. But this
and normally I'm going with or without you. So if you don't come, it's okay. Me, I know how my sleep pattern is set. I need X number of hours to sleep.
I think that was and I can't wait for us to take another trip together. We've talked about
Homa Bay. See what you were talking about it last time.
I'm sorry, like from Accra. No, okay, but sorry to everybody who comes from Homa Bay. But not sorry that it's a bad.
But why are we laughing? Like, anyway.
No, we talked about doing video content together, and I was mentioning it to Roy because he does my video stuff, and he was like, it would be so good to catch you guys like road tripping together, like no driver, no nothing, like it's just the two of you. If the car gets like a flat tire, I'm like, whose name?
You put down that camera and come assist. Hey, look at this guy. The flat tire, and you're just there like this with the camera.
Okay, what is the name of your best friend's first crush?
Do I even know my first crush?
I remember my first crush though.
Celebrity or real?
Real.
Who was it?
Some guy in high school called Jerome. I've always loved that name, but he was a dunderhead. The crush was really legit until we started sharing a class, and then you just realize, like, but why is your coursework is shoddy? like, what is happening?
I think mine would probably be my primary school boyfriend.
You had a primary school?
We dated for 2 years. 2 years.
What the heck?
I think class 6 and 7.
6? What the heck did you guys talk about for 2 years?
I don't even remember any of that, let me tell you.
What was his name?
Michael.
Class 6.
Eventually, between class 6 and 8, I had 3 boyfriends. Then there was another Michael as well. He joined the school a bit later, and he just decided, like, this baby it. So he'd bring me flowers every other day, and this Jillian chocolates, as in, like, imagine.
How did he afford that again?
This was now class 8. We're dating in class 8.
Yeah, but still,
he'd bring me, like, honestly, 2-3 times a week. All
Chocolates.
of them. And flowers. And flowers. I remember the first time someone told me that he's obsessed with me. I didn't even know the word obsession that well. And it's so interesting because he'd come back to Kenya sometimes. In fact, the last time, maybe it was 10 years ago or something. And he found someone who, like my stepmom at the time, who knew her. And he was like, yeah, I'm here and I'm ready to marry Val.
He was obsessed.
And I'm looking for a wife and Val is it. My mom was telling me later and I was just like,
he was obsessed.
Wasn't obsessed. Okay.
Val. Primary school and coming back as an adult. He was obsessed. Class 8, instead of focusing on KCPE. No wonder you had to go to a Catholic all girl.
My mom was like, see, things are going out to become with teen pregnancy for me.
Okay, what's the thing your friend doesn't know about you yet?
Gosh. Do you have your answer?
I'm trying to think. No. I feel like do I say everything?
I don't think there's anything pertinent about you that I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because not like we talk every day or we catch up every day or I'm aware of everything that's going on in your life and vice versa. But we do talk eventually. And that's the pertinent stuff, the important stuff. I don't think there's anything, which is a good thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah. You know everything. Sorry guys, did something that we can't share with you.
Yeah.
Inside joke. What does your friend's ideal birthday party look like? Val's birthday is next week.
Yes! So crazy. Oh my God.
In Corona, it looks like a Zoom party. But what does your friend's ideal birthday party look like? I feel like your birthday party would be a nice mix of like intimate, but still very bold with pockets of naughty.
Yeah.
I think there would be like, maybe there's some years, because obviously it's different every year. So this year you're chilled about it, blah, blah, blah. But let's say last year when you're hype about it, you easily could have done like come in lingerie party type thing. I genuinely think you would do that thing.
Yeah. And then my friends would all stress out. I'm like, it's my birthday, y'all are doing it. I do not care.
Something like that.
Something very hype. Yours is easy. Road trips. Adele likes to get away for her birthday. In fact, most of them you're not here. Especially once Falcon came into your life.
Yeah. I love road trips.
So last year we did Kira, which was so good.
It was beautiful.
So good. It's just such a good spot.
So beautiful. Yeah, I definitely. And also like road trips and out of town, you can kind of like party without stressing about getting a cab to go home. Like, so if you're in a house, like, you know what, you're all in one location, you can play games.
Kira was actually really good. I remember when we talked about doing it for mine this year.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic came to like, Ati was saying what?
Hold my beer.
Yeah.
What is your best friend really good at? She's really good at writing. I feel like your writing is I always say the two people's writing, prose writing that I enjoy are you and Magunga.
Oh, that's such high praise.
Because it's like you're talking to us. It's not a detached type of writing where you can see somebody becomes a persona when they write. You know what I mean? So I really think you're really good at writing. I think you're a good listener as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think for me, I say it all the time. The one thing you're really good at is juggling many balls in the air. I'm always like, do you have the same 24 hours that the rest of us do? Because when I do it, it's like, I'm doing this. And like, when do you sleep? When do you eat? But she also has time to watch stuff on TV. I'm just like, how? So she's, even when you are on radio, because now that's 4 hours of your day blocked out at the very least. For some, you still were able to have so many things up and running, and it's quite a skill set actually.
I don't know what it is. I feel like right now I'm not as organized because I don't have my whiteboard. So I'm trying to get a whiteboard. So I feel like I'm lost without the whiteboard to write tomorrow's tasks. I sold it back to Falgun. Because it was too big. There's no room for it. It was gigantic. So I need a smaller one.
And you're always there when needed.
Really?
Yeah, whether it's for the different people in your life. Like if you need Adele for X, she'll show up.
Oh, that's really nice to know.
Yeah.
Thanks. What is your best friend terrible at?
Oh, God.
Val, what are you terrible at? I don't know what you're terrible at. Crying? I don't know. What did I say you're terrible at? Maybe not. Terrible is such a heavy word.
Yeah.
What you find
Okay, what I
is
say
hard.
you're terrible at,
Yeah.
and as you said, terrible is a heavy word. You give people too many chances. You know what I'm talking about. You people will continuously show you who they are, and then, because I think you have a very soft heart, and then you'll feel bad, and you forget, and you move on, and then they remind you, and then and then they remind you, and I'm like, cut this person off now, and she can't.
I don't know. I find it so hard. I don't know what it is. I think sometimes it's definitely I make excuses for people. And then sometimes it's that I just know something about somebody, then I feel, oh man, like this is a lot you're handling.
Yeah.
All right. And then sometimes I genuinely forget grudges. Like I'll hold a grudge for 1 month and then I just forget and I'm like, damn it, wait, I'm not meant to be talking to this person. But yeah.
Then that can be something I'm terrible at forgiving, because I can hold grudges like the best of them.
Actually, that's so true. But I think that's a good thing. I like that you're terrible at that because you hold grudges on my behalf.
I really do. I'm like, I don't care if you're cold now. Me, we're not cold.
And Val will be cold to your face. Like there's no PR. Have you two ever had a fight? And why?
Nope.
We haven't, guys. We haven't. I had a conversation with someone last week. Was it last week? I can't remember. Someone was saying in the conversation, oh, we fought a lot. But that's when you know that connection is really real. I'm like, not always. Like, it's like, my best friend and I have never fought.
Yeah.
It's not always like the case.
Yeah.
And we're two very different personalities. But Aquarius and Leo,
apparently they make a very good friendship.
Yeah.
Remember after the whole Coast crying debacle, we were trying to figure out, is this our first fight? And I'm like, no, actually that wasn't a fight. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't a fight. So we've never fought. Even when she's impatient at the bad decisions I'm making, she just is like, yeah.
This chick.
Yeah, but no, it's not a fight.
Does your friend have an expression or phrase that they say very often? Not often, but it always makes me crack up when I think about it, because this once Val said, am I living life or is life living me? And it was during the situation when Nairobi City Boys were showing you dance. And
you said 2019 was rough. Dating wise, hey, it's like the universe is like, I will send you fuckboy after fuckboy after fuckboy to prepare you for the fantastic man I will send you at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Hey, it was hard.
I don't think I have an expression of
but I know you do, like especially when you're giving me tea and you're shook, or with your sisters, that is Luo like expressions you normally like to drop, and that's when I know the tea is on another level. This is scalding hot tea.
It's beyond English.
Yes, exactly.
So it's been a year since we checked in with you about your blog, right? So how is it going?
As usual, I'm tired of writing. As anybody else says writing, I'm tired of writing. It's just... But then I also realized I need to start writing like every day. Because I normally do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm like, well, that's why you're tired. Because after the blog puts it up, I feel like, whew. Then the weekend is here. So I think every day I just need to make sure I write something. But it's been dope. Last year I put up, like in November, I had the one for survivors of suicide. And then the day for elimination of violence against women. Yeah, this year I'm telling my mom's cancer story in 13 posts. So there's stuff that's going there. The only thing I miss but still miss is writing Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Because now I'm in a relationship, so I don't really like to write too much about my sex life.
Yeah.
I drop a post here and there every now and then, but I prefer to just like keep it between us. because Sex and the City was my favorite to write, and it was like everybody's favorite. Do you remember
There was
Zadie
mad
one
content.
Zadie to the one who brought some other babe into the room when he'd gone to Ole Polo. Ole Polo. So it's just, I miss writing that, but you move. And then this year I'm also wanting to do more mental health stuff, and so that's been it. Looking forward to, I want to start doing sponsored posts this year, which will give me a bigger audience.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited for, but also very nervous, because everybody right now who reads my work is very supportive. Like, especially with my readers. I normally have a number of readers I have conversations going with in my DMs and stuff. Like, everyone is super supportive. But I know once it starts really getting out there, the haters are now going to come in.
Some you have to block before you engage. Because you know, the first time you read a comment, you know somebody who's looking for clout or attention, so you block before you engage. And then there's some who are actually propagating a toxic mind frame or a toxic thing, and so those are the ones you address. But then not all of them need to get your attention. There's mute buttons. There's I ban people for, and then sometimes I ban you for like the smallest things. If I'm just not in the mood for this nonsense that you're bringing,
there's nothing for blocker. Block, Instagram, blocker, Facebook, block. All of them blocked.
I'm blocked because I'm just like, I don't think I'm being petty, because also it's my space.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have to compromise on my space just because of whatever. No, I shouldn't, right? So I think you'll be okay. And the boosting is really nice. You can be able to target people in other countries even.
Yeah, because I started the blog, the first few months, nobody in my life knew the blog name. Then after 3 months is when I let my people know. Then I started growing. So over 2 years, I've gotten to see how it's grown organically, and it's quite, I really enjoy it. Now we're going to the 3rd year. It's time to up there.
That's always the hard bit. It's like, okay, what next?
Because I've gotten to the point I know my audience. So now that I'm confident in it and in me, it's now just time to up the ante.
Maybe you should also, by the way, check out Squarespace, because you can actually make your blog an entire website. Because if you think about it, let's say 3-4 years from now, you could have like merchandise or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you'll need other tabs or whatever. So Squarespace is good because you build it by yourself and you can integrate. So you don't have to like shift, so to speak. It's not like a new link and then you've lost all of your back end, whatever. You integrate it.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it's like maybe $1,200 a month. But then you are in charge, like you edit everything on your end. It gives you really good
cool,
back end insights. I feel so dumb for having paid for my first website, because now I just built this one. I was like, I didn't need to pay that much, but anyway, it's okay.
You live and you learn, yeah?
Yup. All right, so that's it for International Day of Friendship. And what I'm going to play next is an audio note that came in on the Legally Clueless hotline number, which was actually for Val.
Hey there, Adele. I've been listening to your podcast a lot the past few days. I really relate to most of your episodes, but I particularly loved episode 6. I don't know why, I just went back to all the episodes that you've done before. So I listened to episode 6, the one where you hosted your best friend Val, and you're talking about why won't our passions work for us. So I really related to it, and I just want to say that I feel really inspired. I am a writer, and I'd love to call myself that, but most times I struggle with inconsistency a lot. But I must admit that what Val has talked about, just putting in the work, investing in your craft, it's a great tip for someone like me who's really been struggling with consistency.
I love that Val inspires you as well, and that I can share the warmth that is our friendship with you as well. I think that's pretty dope. So if you've listened to an episode of Legally Clueless that completely resonates with you or resonates with something you've experienced and you want to share that with me, you can just hit me up on the Legally Clueless hotline number. That's +254 768 628 790. I finally know the number offhand. Woot woot. It's also the same number where you can send a 1-minute audio demo in case you want to share your story on a Legally Clueless episode. So just in 1 minute, tell me a bit about the story that you want to share. It could be something that you witnessed or experienced. And then I will create some story prompts specific to your story, send those to you. We'll work on it a bit and then arrange a time that I can record your story remotely, of course, because COVID, but also because wherever you are, whether you're on this African continent, on a totally different continent, it means that you can share your story on this podcast too, which is pretty dope as well, right? And lastly, do remember to join our tribe on Instagram. I don't know why I sang it. At Legally Clueless Podcast, but I'll put a link to our page in the description of this episode. And that's it for this episode of Legally Clueless. You can share this podcast with your friends. You can keep it for yourself. I'm not judging. Just make sure you're here next week for the next episode.